What up out there, travel wolves? So it's time for another video. Yes, this is in response to those taxis in Medellín. That was the perfect timing. I saw that on YouTube and I said, it's the perfect timing to drop this video. So we're gonna talk about this country as your safety being questionable. That's why I say in the title, you know, you can't come to this country and be a halfway crook. You gotta be a full crook. You gotta come there thinking like that. That's how your thinking gotta be, you know what I'm saying? You gotta have a thief's thinking to stay safe in this country. And like I said, I saw the title, I listened to the video, and people think that that's ludicrous, but these taxi cabs are very sus. As my nephew would say, they're very sus. So I'm gonna tell you my story real quick, okay? Now, personally, I'll lead with this. I would say that the country, Colombia as a whole, to me, the parts I was in, Cartagena, Barranquilla, Medellín, overall were safer than, at least at nighttime to me, was safer than Rio de Janeiro at night. And I looked at, Cartagena. I used to walk around at night so many times at like 3 o'clock in the morning, coming from the ATM machine. Barranquilla, it's very secure. Barranquilla is very secure. Not so much at night, definitely during the day, but very secure during the day. And that's only because in Barranquilla, there are places where there's nobody around and you can kind of catch yourself all alone, isolated. It's never a good, opportunity for you, but for the banderillos. And Medellín to me is like Brooklyn. Just don't be a halfway crook, you be fine. If you thorough and you know your business, you got the street swagger, you'll be okay in Medellín, day or night. But I tell you right now, I have been in Rio de Janeiro out like that, late at night, hell no. I used to be so timid being out late at night. And people will tell you too, don't be naive, especially in Copa at night, don't be naive. I remember we used to walk from Mabby's to Dolce Vita in Copacabana, and it took a while for me to get comfortable doing that. Hop in an Uber, and it's like, if you walk, it's like 3 blocks. It's not that far, but I would hop in an Uber because that strip right there is tough. And unless you're walking with a group of people with you, like you're all going to the same place, so you all walk together, but still. But yeah, so I got to Medellín, and how did I learn about the taxi cabs? The taxi cab drivers in Colombia, though, they're pretty much all the same, right? They're going to rip you off as a tourist. They're going to rip you off. The yellow cabs, they're going to rip you off. They never have change, especially in Cartagena. Anywhere from the wall city, anywhere, it's going to be 20 mil pesos if you want to pay that, if you want to avoid a fight. And if you try to challenge them, they talk shit to you in front of the girl and try to tell her why you with this nigga or this broke ass gringo. They talk shit to you in front of the girl. I've had it happen to me a few times whenever I challenge these dudes. They're jealous. They want to get the money. They want to get the girl. It's just a mess. It's just a mess with these yellow cabs. Very dangerous, I would say, all of them. In Cartagena, in Barranquilla. In Barranquilla, I found it odd that they don't know how to get around. They don't know directions very well. They don't know when you tell them something, they're like, I don't know where that's at. Barranquilla, Medellín, I didn't use them at all. And that's exactly why. Somebody told me that. I'm going to tell you the story right now. So I get to Medellín, I get off the airplane, I get off, and I walk out the door. And I always believe that the universe brings you people in your life, The devil is going to look like attractive. It's going to look like a woman. It's going to look like somebody you would confide in. It's going to look like somebody that's trusted. That's how you know it's the devil. But your guardian angel, those archangels, they're gonna come like a homeless person. They're gonna come like somebody you wouldn't want to associate with. They're gonna come like a regular person that you would kind of be skeptical about, because that's the archetype of an angelic being. An angelic being is neutral, so they're gonna come at you from a neutral persona. So anyway, I remember coming out the airport and I'm trying to figure out how to get to my Airbnb, and there's this guy standing over to the left of me, white dude, maybe he's like Spanish and white. He's smoking one of those e-cigs, and all these cab drivers are running up to me, and I'm thinking about taking the bus, because they don't tell you that you don't fly into Medellín, you fly into this other city, and then you got to take a 30-minute drive to Medellín. So I'm thinking about taking the bus, but I don't know where the bus lets me off at, and it's late at night already. So I'm thinking about taking a taxi, but I don't know if the taxi is similar in price to the Uber. And this guy stops me. Now looking at him, I was like, I don't know if this guy is part of the scheme or whatever. Should I even, take him in confidence, or should I just, mind my business and move on and find my own way and not seek nobody's advisement? But he told me, he said, yo, don't get in the cab. And he said, don't get in none of the cabs. And he broke down this whole list in like 5 minutes of reasons why. He told me the cab drivers would tell the people where you at to come rob you. He told me the cab drivers would pretend like they got lost and take you somewhere secluded and open the door and let people rob you. He told me the most funny thing, which is related to this video, that the cab drivers are doing James Bond type of shit. So when you get in the car, they turn on the AC and the Scopolamine blows out on you. And that's how they're getting people. When you get in the car, they turn on the AC and the Scopolamine blows out on you in liquid form, hits your makes skin contact and takes effect like that. You know what I'm saying? And he just told me that, and I was like, word, they doing James Bond type of shit on you. And it's very true, very true. And I'm gonna give the gentleman who made that video credit. So this city, like I said, you gotta think like a thief. You know what I'm saying? You gotta have your wits about you, and you gotta be like, But other than that, there's only two ways you can get got in this city. This city is very safe at night, because the area they're talking about, Parcaleras, Provincia, there's a lot of police here around, and they don't play. They are on the job. A lot of good police officers out there. Same way in Cartagena, a lot of good police officers out there. They are on the job. They are keeping people safe in these tourist areas. Barranquilla also, but they don't play with them in Barranquilla, so that's why I say it's very secure, because they come down, they already know, like, they're not gonna get tolerated. But in the tourist areas, Colombia has done the best it can to keep you safe with the policia. And I respect them. They've always treated me good. They've always treated me well. They've always looked out for me. Very patient and everything. So, but outside, the ways they get you is through the taxi, because it must really be getting bad now. You know what I'm saying? You got to think about how they think about it. You're picking up a lifestyle. You're driving off. They know you're going to spend the night with her. She going to get $400. They want to get at least $50. And you don't want to give them $50, but you're spending all this money on the lifestyles. You got to think about it. How they think like that, right? So, of course, they're going to be like, it's survival of the fittest now. You know what I'm saying? Of course, if you're with the lifestyles, you probably won't get got, but, well, it's kind of a contradiction. If you're with the lifestyles in the taxi, you probably won't get got because they don't want no smoke with her people. You know what I'm saying? But if you're by yourself, you definitely will get got. But you probably won't get with her because she might be trying to get you herself. And those are the only two ways you're going to get got in this city, is through the taxis and the lifestyles. So if you think like a thief and you know what you're doing and you're patient, you can have a good time. But you never want to take the lifestyles back to your crib, because these people are devious. They are robbing you blind, like they said, butt ass naked, nothing no ID, no nothing, credit cards, taking everything, and robbing the Airbnb, robbing the whole Airbnb. You know what I'm saying? So, there's nice hotels around. I learned the ropes that you can go and have a good time and relax in with the lifestyles in that area, and that's where you should keep it. You should until you get, or unless you get a referral, or you got to know someone a little bit, but still you can't. Medellín is not the place to be trying to fill people out. So I don't know how you develop a trust with anyone there, because it happens. It's like the MO. It really, Cartagena by comparison is like kindergarten. Yeah, shit go down in Cartagena, but because you see someone over and over again every night, that person may least likely be the one to do something like that. And you kind of get referrals, or you see them with someone else. And so the reputation can be kind of impeccable. But in Medellín, it's so big a city. It's like Brooklyn. It's like all this moving around. You may not see the same. You have to go out every night just to see if the same person is out every night. And you may not see the same person every night. You know what I'm saying? And so it's that. The girls that work in the same spots, you can probably ask about them. You can probably get a referral. But until you really get a feel for them, you got to be safe. And really, I call this dude my angel, because he came through that night and gave me the best advice, because I didn't know what to do. I was about to hop in that taxi. They was going to get me. They was going to get me. You know what I'm saying? He really told me, don't trust any of them. Don't trust any of the lifestyles. Just don't. Don't ever bring them to your house. You can't. They get down. And I believe it. I know, because we see the stories. I mean, for real. We hear the stories, we see the stories. But I gotta say this though. If you're not about that, if you're not about the lifestyles, then you got nothing to worry about. Medellín is relatively safe, and I don't like the reputation. I don't like the reputation what I saw Colombia gets. I'm even thinking about reconsidering Bogota, but to me, Bogota was just really that city, that serious city, These are the guys that invented that shit. The motorcycle, two guys on the motorcycle, They invented that shit. So you gotta respect the danger. It's danger is very real, but you gotta respect it. You can't be like, oh, it's not gonna happen to me, because someone's gonna intercede and change your destiny, like that. So. But that's my leveling. I just go with, like he said, you don't really trust anybody. You know what I'm saying? You got to feel them out. You got to feel the energy. You don't really trust anybody. I never trusted anybody in the lifestyles. You just can't. You really can't. You gotta like it's funny, because only through seeing someone over and over and over again, and seeing how they react to you every time you see them, then you can get a feel for them if they're cool. And, you can kind of see like what they're really about. Not everyone is like that. But in Medellín, it's just too unpredictable. I'm not saying everyone in Medellín is like that, but it is a common occurrence. So it's just too unpredictable. Cartagena, it happens too, but maybe more or less, who knows, right? In Barranquilla, it doesn't happen at all. I think. I haven't heard of anything happening in Barranquilla. It probably is non-existent, because Barranquilla is not so much with the lifestyle, you know what I'm saying? And they don't think like that, which is interesting why they don't think like that. But, the lifestyle is not, but people get it twisted. The lifestyle is not so much about the action as it is about the thievery. If you're organized and you're connected, if they're organized and they're connected and they're getting some real game, their goal is not to do anything with you. Their goal is to rob you, because that's far more easier and far more safer for them, and overall it gets them way more money, than sleeping with you. Now, why do they do this on tourists? the $1 million answer is because they know that tourists aren't going to pursue these things because they shouldn't be in the country doing that shit anyway, and they aren't going to want to stay around or come back, etc., etc. So they know you're a fair target. Plus, you don't speak the language, so you can't even communicate with no one. So they don't do this to their own kind, I would presume. I haven't heard of it happening to their own kind because they don't know who's connected. They don't know who's dangerous, more dangerous than them. And they know that these people live there. So most of them all live in the same neighborhood. Most likely they live in the same place, or somebody will have a relative that may live in the same place. So they won't fuck with their own kind like that. But you, as a tourist, that's why they will fuck with you. But overall, you should be going to enjoy the culture, the food, the music, the sights, all those things. Stay out of the lifestyles. Stay out of the lifestyle. But now we see that even if you do that, the services that they provide for you, at this rate, I gotta say, it might even start to affect eating out. I gotta say that at this point, it might not be safe in bars and restaurants much longer because the taxi cab drivers are doing this. It's not gonna be that long before waitresses start doing it, you know what I mean? So it's sad, and I hope they get a hold on it because I really love Colombia. I disagree with a lot of the reputation. I didn't see any of that. I disagree with a lot of the reputation it gets. I mean, when I say the reputation, they make it like it's a heinous place, but it's no different than fucking living in New York City. It's no different than living in Miami. It's no different than living in Los Angeles. If you're an American, it's no different than most cities you would live at, most metropolitan cities you would live at in America. The crime and the violence is not greater than. If anything, I would say it's probably less than. If anything, I would say it's probably more understandable because it's financial crimes. Nobody's randomly killing you and assaulting you and trying to harm you. They're just taking your money. It's a financial thing. So that has to do with poverty. You know what I'm saying? It's more understandable, like what the MO is. Not that it's right, but at least you can understand the MO, you know? So taxi cab drivers obviously are getting squeezed, and now they got to resort to James Bond shit. But it's funny that someone admitted to this. I thought I would be crazy if I told you guys about the James Bond shit, but I was like, what's the James Bond shit? Somebody just probably thought that. Okay. The James Bond shit is like they got their car rigged with all these gadgets and things to get Scopolamine in your body. You could touch it on the handle when you close the door. You could touch it on the seat. Your legs could touch it. They could wipe the whole seat down with it. They could wipe the door handle down with it. Anything you touch in the car, a button, anything you touch in the car can have it. But he told me specifically what they do. They get in the car and they turn the AC on. And I thought about that. If they do that, how come they're not affected? But apparently they maybe have an antidote. That's kind of odd that nobody's come up with an antidote for this shit. You know, something that makes you immune to it. An antidote would be perfect. You know, I'm pretty sure there's got to be an antidote. There's got to be something you can take that countermands the effects of Scopolamine or dragon's breath. You know. But anyway, yeah. So they do work as hard as they can to keep the tourists safe. I've witnessed that firsthand. The police here do work as hard as they can, and you will have a great time. You know, it's a whole nother part of visiting Colombia and having a good time that nobody shows, and I wish they would. I wish you could do that, because the lifestyles isn't what the country's all about. None of these countries is all about the lifestyles. You can really have a great time, but this country to me was moderately unsecure and secure. It wasn't extraordinary. I would say Rio de Janeiro was volatile, and there's other cities that are worse, but you know, to me Rio de Janeiro is the number one volatile, and then I would put Cartagena and Barranquilla and Medellín. I would lump them together because those are mostly tourist spots. I would lump them together, and I would have to say they may be like number, I don't know, maybe number 18. I want to say 16, 18 on the scale, you know, of danger. But yeah, they're doing that James Bond shit. I just had to catch you guys with this video. So, okay. That's all I got for now, guys. And I'll talk to you soon. Peace.